Many influencers spend their careers denouncing extrinsic motivation, pretending that intrinsic motivation is the solution to basically everything in life. In this video, I want to push back against this narrative. I want to argue that it's perfectly okay to be motivated extrinsically. Let's get started with the first reason. The first reason why it's okay to be extrinsically motivated is that you don't have to figure out everything straight away. Many of those who preach about extrinsic motivation, many of those who preach about intrinsic motivation have been on self-improvement for 10 years. So they get the physique, they get the hot blondes, they get the money, and then they conclude, well, those things didn't make me happy, so let me talk about intrinsic motivation and how that's the solution to everything in life. But you see, when you're 18 like me, it doesn't make sense to have that same expectation. Normal 18-year-olds don't even know what intrinsic or extrinsic motivation are, so why should you pressure yourself to live by that? Like, by all means, go to the gym to get hot blondes, apply for the jobs to get money, go to the dentist to look prettier. There's nothing wrong with that. It is perfectly normal to be wanting money when you have none. It is perfectly normal to want hot blondes when you have none. It is perfectly normal to go to the doctor to want to be healthy, although everything that I've just listed is extrinsically motivated. So after you have those things, then you can worry about intrinsic motivation. And of course it's true. If you absolutely hate going to the gym and only go to the gym to get hot blondes, you should try another sport. But generally speaking, there is nothing wrong with doing things to get an external reward, because that's just life. What else are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just sit around hoping that intrinsic motivation will spawn inside you? That's usually not how it goes. You have to do something, and if that something is extrinsically motivated, then by all means, do it. It's okay. When you have done all those extrinsically motivated things, then you can worry about the intrinsically motivated. But once again, you don't have to figure out everything straight away. If you're 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, it's okay when you're extrinsically motivated. There is nothing wrong with it. The second reason why being extrinsically motivated is okay is because intrinsic motivation isn't actually real. If you were the last person on earth, would you still go to the gym? Would you still care about online business? Would you still go to the dentist? Chances are you would not. You see, although these influencers don't want to admit it, we do basically everything we do for other people, or for God if you're a monk. So because we do everything for other people and for God, it doesn't really make sense to differentiate into intrinsic or extrinsic. There is, of course, a difference whether you do something just for the external reward or whether you do something for the external reward and enjoy it. But once again, most of life sucks. 95% of life sucks. 5% is good. It would be insane to expect that 5% of life sucks and 95% is good. Like, most things are extrinsically motivated on some way or another. And most things aren't that pleasant. And expecting everything to be this pleasant, intrinsically motivated part is just not realistic. It's just not how it works. And in many cases, you can't even tell whether something is intrinsically or extrinsically motivated. And so my conclusion from this is, if intrinsic motivation is such a vague concept, like its definition is activities that bring you in a flow without needing external rewards, if the definition is so vague and it breaks apart when you're the last person on earth, Why should you care about it? I use every advantage I can get. If I live more peacefully by not believing in extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, then I will not believe in those things. It is much better for me to just do the things that I want to do without worrying whether they are intrinsic or extrinsic. You see, if it causes me suffering to obsess about making that 5% into 95%, then I won't. I will just accept that most of life sucks, some of life is good, and will of course try to maximize that good part. But if maximizing that good part just causes pointless suffering because I pressure myself to do everything intrinsically motivated, then I will of course not do so and just go back to being extrinsically motivated. So here's my proposed solution to this whole extrinsic, intrinsic motivation stuff. Do what you want without wanting to want things. That means if you want to do something extrinsically motivated, then by all means, do it. And don't worry about intrinsic, extrinsic, and stuff like that. And the second part is don't want to be wanting things. That means if you have an intrinsic desire, don't try to bend your mind. Don't try to bend your desires trying to summon a wholesome intrinsic desire, and just do what you want to do without worrying about it. Of course, if you want to do something criminal, don't do it. But generally speaking, do what you want to do without worrying whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, and just live your life. This is my solution. And so if this video inspired you, subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.